Hello, my name is Paul Farrell, and I'm the Director of Air Planning at the Department of Energy and Environmental Protection, or DEEP. Thank you for taking the time to stop by our website to learn about how Connecticut's response to the COVID-19 pandemic has impacted our air quality. This is the first of 4 short videos. In this video, I will provide some general background on air pollution, air quality, and DEEP's air quality monitoring network. I'll even offer some useful tips on steps we can all take to help us protect our air quality and the air we all breathe. In the 3 videos that follow, some of my colleagues at DEEP will discuss in greater detail recent data from satellites equipped with sensors to detect air pollution. We'll also review some recent data from our air quality monitoring network. And lastly, we'll tie it all together and then talk about our daily air quality forecasts and the air quality index. So let's get started. Beginning in mid-March 2020, many states took unprecedented steps to slow the spread of COVID-19. Based on modeled predictions, the virus could be very deadly to Americans. In Connecticut, Governor Lamont initiated the effort to stay safe, stay home. Almost immediately, there were fewer cars on the road, fewer airplanes in the sky. Businesses and non-essential commercial activity virtually halted. Not surprisingly, air pollution levels dropped significantly. Take a look at this dramatic change picked up by a satellite that measures nitrogen dioxide, which is a byproduct of combustion. So what does this mean for our air quality in Connecticut? Well, DEEP is taking a look, and we're going to discuss what we found so far. But first, I want to give everyone some background so you understand the complex nature of air pollution. There's a lot going on with this graphic, so please bear with me as I walk through an introduction to air pollution in a nutshell. In general, air pollution is any element in the outdoor or ambient air that is harmful to human health or our environment. The 2 processes by which pollution gets into our air is through combustion or evaporation, and these processes can be man-made or naturally occurring. Sometimes 2 or more air pollutants will chemically combine to form a new third pollutant. I'll talk a little bit more about that later. So DEEP's efforts are focused on man-made or anthropogenic air pollution. The sources highlighted in the yellow box are some examples of man-made air pollution, include mobile sources like cars, trucks, buses, things of that nature, and stationary sources like power plants, factory, and other industrial sources. As you can see, aircraft and watercraft also produce air pollution. Another source of air pollution is called area sources, and generally refers to air pollution that does not pass through a smokestack or tailpipe, and includes most agricultural activity, but also includes evaporative emissions from sources like gasoline storage tanks, gas stations. Lastly, we need to acknowledge naturally occurring air pollution, such as the organic compounds from leaf out of trees that happens this time of year, and particulate matter from wildfires, as well as other naturally occurring pollutants and dust. In Connecticut, without a doubt, most of our air pollution comes from fossil fuel combustion. These pollutants include nitrogen oxides, sulfur oxides, particulate matter, carbon dioxide, and carbon monoxide. And as I said, the transportation sector is responsible for the preponderance of Connecticut's homegrown air pollution. So all of this air pollution impacts the air we breathe at ground level, but some of it also rises higher in the atmosphere, where it can combine and form new secondary air pollutants. For example, air pollution emitted in Connecticut mixes with air pollution from power plants transported here in westerly winds from as far away as the Ohio River Valley in Pennsylvania. It's most harmful to Connecticut when oxides of nitrogen and volatile organics react in the presence of sunlight to form ozone. This is a strong irritant and a very serious public health concern. It is important to note that in addition to power plants in the Ohio River Valley, Connecticut is also impacted by air pollution transported here in southwesterly winds from up the I-95 corridor, including the Washington, D.C. metro area, Philadelphia, and the New York City metropolitan area. So all this air pollution from different levels reacts and forms and combines, and then, given weather conditions, comes down and impacts the air we breathe in Connecticut. So how does DEEP track air pollution? In short, we look at data, and more data. DEEP collects some of this data on its own. We also rely on data collected and reported by others. They report this data to other states or the federal government, like the Department of Energy or the EPA. Let's not forget satellite data from NASA or weather data from NOAA. DEEP's primary source of data for Connecticut comes from our ambient air quality monitoring network. This gives us almost real-time data on levels of ozone, particulate matter, oxides of nitrogen, sulfur oxides, carbon monoxide. But it does take time to quality assure the data so we know that it's accurate. Some sources like power plants also monitor the pollution from their smokestack. They do this on a continuous basis, but they only report it on a quarterly basis. So it can take several months for DEEP to see this data. Other data is reported on even longer terms. Annual fuel use data, aggregate gasoline consumption, and things of that nature, we only see every 16 months. DEEP also conducts its own observation and research. We operate a webcam that gives us a good idea of current visibility conditions in Hartford. And we're also engaged in long-term research to study interstate air pollution transport, because what other states do, or more importantly, don't do, impacts air quality in Connecticut, especially on hot, hazy days in the summer. So it may seem like air pollution is a pretty complicated issue and it's too big for any one person to do anything about, but honestly, nothing could be further from the truth. There's lots of steps we can all do to help us breathe a little easier. First, we can drive less, walk or ride a bicycle, use public transportation, combine errands when you do go out, or carpool and vanpool to work. These days, actually, a lot of people are teleworking, and that has quite an impact on air quality too. If you do drive, drive smart. When you refuel your car, stop refueling after the click and avoid unnecessary idling. If you can, refuel after dusk, keep your speeds in check, and when you can, get your car emissions tested on time. Even better, drive a car that doesn't emit any pollution. Consider purchasing an electric vehicle. There are significant state and federal incentives out there that can really help drive the cost of an EV down. Around the house, if you can, set your air conditioner to 78 degrees during the summer. This reduces the burden on the power grid and reduces the amount of air pollution that the power grid needs to emit. If you can, wait till 8 to use energy-intensive appliances. Use LED bulbs and Energy Star appliances when you can. Avoid using aerosol products and select water-based paints around the house. In the yard, use an electric or hand-powered equipment if you can. Reduce the use of fertilizers and garden chemicals, and delay using gas mowers and garden equipment until the evening. So now that you understand air pollution and air quality a little bit better, I hope that you take a look at DEEP's other air quality videos. And remember, we all need to work together for clean air. Thank you.